Right, so welcome to tonight's lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to continue looking at partial fractions, and we'll just continue from the question that we left this one. So we only solved part A. We didn't do B and C and the other questions. So these are some of the contexts that you can use to reach me out. If you need lessons, if you want tuitions, if you want help in mathematics and physics, assignments, and other things like tutorial sheets, these are some of the lines that you can use to contact me, or if you have any questions. All right, so let's quickly begin to learn. Okay, so this is the question, and we only did the first part there. So I remember introducing partial fractions, and I showed you the simplest ways or the simplest formats that you can use to resolve any given rational function into a partial fraction. All right, so we quickly begin. So the second question, we did the first one there, so we just have to start from the second one. So the second one there is, so we have negative x. Okay, just do this. Okay, so we have negative x, then we have minus 47, everything over x squared minus 11x plus 24. So this question, you solve it in a similar way, like I solved this one. So how do you solve that, or how do you know that this is what I'm going to do? So you first have to try and factorize the denominator. So let us try to do that. So we have the denominator is x squared minus 11x, then plus 24. So let us see how best we can factorize this. So the product is 1 times 24, that is just 24. And then the sum is equal to negative 11. So we can find two numbers that if we multiply them, they're going to give us 24. If we add them, they're going to give us negative 11. So these two numbers are going to be taken from 24. So let us do that. So we have the product, which is 24. So the first smallest numbers that we can use, the first smallest number that we can multiply with 24 to get 24 is, 1, and this is going to be times 24. Then we can also say negative 1 and negative 24. We still get what? 24. We can also use 2 and 12. So 2 and 12 will get 24, negative 2 and negative 12 will get 24. Then we have 3 times 8 give us 24, and then we also have negative 3 and negative 8. So I think I'll end on this one because I've already seen the two numbers I was looking for. Because when you add 1 and 24, you get 25. When you add negative 1 and negative 24, you get negative 25. You add 2 and 12, you get what? You get, so I'm trying to find the numbers that I'm going to add to give negative 11. So when you add negative 2 and negative 12, you're getting negative 14. You add 3 and 8, you're getting 11. You add negative 3 and negative 8, you get negative 11. So this tells me that the numbers, rather the factors that I'm looking for are negative 3 and negative 11. So we can plug in negative 3 and negative 11 in place of negative 3 and negative 8 in place of negative 11x. So we have x squared minus negative 3x, negative 8x, then plus 24 is equal to 0. So from there, what we do is we factorize. So we're going to have x is common there. Then x into x squared, we have x. Then we have minus x into 3x, we have 3 there. Then we say minus 8 is common. And then negative 8 into negative 8x, that will give us x. Then negative 8 into positive 24, we're getting negative 3. Then this is equal to 0. So we factorize this further, we're going to get that. So we can see, sorry, I'm not supposed to be adding this. Okay. So these are the factors, for this expression there. So we know to say this can also be written as negative x minus 47, everything over what? Over x minus 3, and then we have x minus 8 there. So this quadratic equation can also be written in that format. All right, so let us now begin to resolve that into a partial fraction. So this is a very simple question, which I believe anyone can manage to solve, but for the sake of everyone knowing how to solve, let us solve it together. All right, so let's quickly solve. Okay, so we have negative x and negative 47, then everything over x minus 3, and then we have x minus 8 there. So we say this is going to be equal to, so this will be equated to the standard form of partial fractions that have linear factors like these that we have here. So the first one there will be a over the first linear factor that we have there, which is x minus 3. And then the second one will be, we say plus b over the second linear factor that we have there. So we have x minus 8 there. So the other thing that we need to do here is to find the common denominator. So the common denominator this side, so let me say this is equal to, there's negative x there, negative 47, everything over the linear factors we have x minus 3, and then we have x minus 8 there. Okay, so we equate this to the standard form there, which is, before we do that, actually, we're not supposed to do that. We find the common denominator this side. So the common denominator is found by just multiplying the linear factors that you have. So when you multiply the linear factors there, or simply you just get what is this side. Whatever you have this side is what you put as a common denominator there, which is x minus 3 and x minus 8. And then you can say this into this whole expression here, which is the denominator. You get that because that you come and cancel with that, then you only remain with that. And then this times a, you get a times x minus 8. And then you say plus this plus here, you write it there. Then the other thing is that we divide now this part into this expression that we have there. So when you divide that, it means that we are just canceling this and that and remain with that. So that times b, so we have b times x minus 3. So from there, what we now just have to do is, we know that mathematically, if you simplify this, you do the cross multiplication there, you discover that this and that will come and cancel. So you just remain with negative x minus 47 being equal to a, open brackets, x minus 8, and then we say plus b, sorry for that, then plus b, open brackets, x minus 3. So this is what you're going to remain with. So having done this, you can now, start finding the values of a and b. So the values of a and b are found by either using the coefficients, getting their coefficients, or if not that, you have to use the you have to find what is going to make this part a 0 or what is going to make that part a 0 to get the other letter. So how do we do that? So if we want to make this part as a 0, what do? We find a number that we're going to replace at x, which if we find the solution in the brackets there, they'll give us a 0. And that number is going to be replaced on all these 3 terms that we have. Okay. So how do we do that? So it's a simple one. It's a simple one. we simply just look at what we have there. We have -8. Or the simplest way you can do that is by equating x minus 8 to 0. When you get that, you just have to take that to that, and then you have x being equal to 8. So I'm going to replace 8 on every part which contains x in this expression. So let us do the replacements. So let's quickly do the replacements. Okay. So when we replace the first one there, we're going to have, what is x there? If we put 8, we're going to have -8. Then we have -47 being equal to, and then we have a there. So we have a, open brackets, where there's x, we're putting 8. So we have 8 and then -8. We have b, then open brackets, while there's x, we're putting what? 8. So we have 8 and -3 there. So -8 and -47 will give us, is it 56? What is it? 55. Yeah, it's going to give us -55 this side. Then we say this is equal to, so here you have 8 minus 8. This will give you a 0. 0 times a. So if you want, you can write it for the sake of showing your work. So we have a 0 in brackets and then multiplying with a, and then we have plus. We have a b there, and then 8 minus 3. 8 minus 3, the answer is 5. So now, what you just need to do is, you simplify the expression. So when you do the simplifying of, the expression, so when you do the simplifying of the expression, you find that this side, so you find that this side is going to give you -55. Then this other side will give you, this part will give us a 0. Then this part is going to be 5b. So now from there we can divide everything by, 5, divide everything by 5. So the answer that you're going to get is a value for b, which is going to be, this side and that side will cancel. Then 5 into 55 into -55, we're getting -11. So our value of b is -11. So let us quickly see how we can find the value of a. So to find the value of a, we have to find means in which we're going to get rid of b. And that means that we have to find a letter, or rather a number, that we're going to replace where there's x, so that this expression becomes a 0. So how do we find that? Let me erase this part so that we can use it. Okay. So this is what we're going to have. So the expression itself is -x and -47. So while there is x, we just have to replace. So if I want this part to be 0, I will put 3 here. How do I know that I'm going to put 3 there? Simple. You can just equate what you have in the brackets to 0, and then see the answer that you're going to get is the number that you replace there. So you equate x minus 3 to 0, so that you have, when this -3 crosses the equal sign, you have x is equal to what? 3. So meaning while there is x in this expression, I'm going to put 3. So I'll start negative, where there's x, I'm putting 3. Then we say -47. This is equal to, then we have a there, where there's x, I'm putting what? 3 minus 8. Then I have plus b, and then in brackets there, where there's x, I'm putting 3 and -3. So this side, I'm going to get -50, and then here I'm going to have a there, open brackets. 3 minus 8, the answer that I'm going to get is -5. And then plus b times what? 3 minus 3, the answer is 0. So this part will give me a 0, and I'll just remain with -50 being equal to -5a. So we just have to divide by -5 and -5 this other side. So From there, the next thing that we just need to do here is we divide this and that cancels. So we have the value of A as negative 50 divided by 5, divided by negative 5. The answer is what? 10. So the values of A and B are 10 and negative 11 respectively. So you write your final answer as, I don't know why this is failing to, okay, we have found that A is 10 and we have found that A is 10 and B is negative 11. So we can conclude by writing this. So we say negative x minus 47 over x squared minus 11x plus 24 is equal to, so what is A? I'm putting 10. So what is A? I'm putting 10. I don't know what. Okay, so I don't know what is happening. Let me do this and do this. Okay, so we write our final answer. So the final answer will be negative x minus 47 over x squared minus 11x plus 24. And this is going to be equal to, the value of A we found was 10. So we simply just write 10 there over, what was our first, it was x minus 3, if I'm not mistaken. Then our second one was, the value of B was negative 11. So we put negative 11 there and then over x minus 8. So this is our final solution. So this is our final solution. Yeah, so let us quickly move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is this one. So you also have to do the same here. For this one, it's also a simple question. It's solved in a similar way that I've solved this. So let's move on to the other questions. So the other questions are these. We do the same thing that we are just from doing, except that these have factors that are repeating. So how do you deal with with a partial fraction with factors that are repeating, like this one here? Okay, let me first solve one with 3 factors, and then I'll go to the one that is having repeating factors. So we have 32x squared plus 39 minus 8, everything over. We have x plus 1, x plus 2, then we have 2x minus 3. Then from there, you are going to write the standard for this one. So the standard will be, since all these are linear factors, we don't have a quadratic factor here. So these are linear factors. So what you do is you write A and you say over x plus 1. Then you say plus, you write B over x plus 2. And then you write C over 2x minus 3. So after writing this, we can now start simplifying. So first of all, we find the common denominator. So the common denominator, this side first, let me copy the way it is. So we have 32x squared plus 39, minus 8. So we have minus 8 there. And then everything divided by, we have x plus 1, x plus 2, and then we have 2x minus 3 in brackets. So we say this is going to be equal to, this side, we find the common denominator. Remember what I said, the common denominator is just whatever that you have this side is what you put as your common denominator this side. So we have, yeah, so the common denominator here is x plus 1, then x plus 2, then we have 2x minus 3. And then on the numerator there, remember that short method I told you to say you just multiply this and that, this and that, this and that, that and that, but let us just do the right way. So we say, yeah, the short form was we multiply A times this and that, then B times this and that, C times this and that. Yeah, that's the short form, not the one I told you at first. So here, what you do is you just say this expression into this expression. It means that you are canceling this part from this part. You remain with that and that. So what you remain with is what you multiply with A. So we say A times x plus 2 and 2x minus 3. Then B, we write plus B there, then open brackets. So after opening the brackets, you say this expression into this whole expression means that you are canceling this and that, and you're remaining with what? This part and that part. So what you're remaining with is what you multiply with B. So you have x plus 1 and 2x minus 3. So from there, we also move on to C. So we say plus this expression into that expression. So what you do, this expression into that expression, it means that we're canceling out this part and that part. Whatever you remain with is what you're multiplying with what? With C. So you're remaining with this part and that, because this will cancel with that. So we remain with this part and that part. So we're going to have x plus 1 and x plus 2 there. So now we can, we can find the values of A, B, and C. So what you do, we first have to cancel out the denominators. This one and that one will cancel mathematically. So you just remain with 32x squared plus 39x. Yeah, so this one is supposed to have x. Then minus 8. This is going to be equal to, so we have A, open brackets, x plus 2, 2x minus 3. And then we have B, x plus 1. And then we have 2x minus 3. And then we have C, open brackets, x plus 1. Then you have x plus 2. So now we start canceling out the what is, we start finding the value of A, B, and C. So how do we find those values? So we find a number that if I replace it where there's x, it's going to cancel any of these two terms, any of these three terms. It will cancel at least 2 terms from these expressions. So if I put, let's say for instance, if I say if I say let x be what? Be equal to -2. It means that if I put -2 there, this part will be a 0. So 0 times everything here, this will be a 0. If I also put -2 there, where there's x, this part will also be a 0. So I'm just going to remain with p, and it will be easier for me to find the value of p. So what you do now is we replace -2 in the whole expression. So we replace -2 there. So we're going to have 32, open brackets, we put -2 squared, and then we have plus 39, then we have -2 there, -8, then we say this is equal to, when I put -2 there, this will be -2 plus 2, that will be a 0. 0 times everything here, this will give me a 0. So when I put -2 there, I'm going to have, so I'm having plus b there, open brackets, -2 plus 1, the answer will be -1, and then -2, when I put it where there's x, this will be -2 times 2, that will be -4, times minus 3. So this would be -4 minus 3, this will give me -7. And when I put -2 where there's x there, this would be -2 plus 2, that would be a 0. Times everything this side, the answer will be a 0. So we still have another 0 this side. So we simplify the expression. So this expression will therefore be 4, because -2 squared will give us what? will give us 4. So we have 4 times what? Times 32. So 4 times 32 will give us 128. Then you have 39 times negative 2. So 39 times negative 2, this is giving us what? Negative 78. And then we have negative 8 there, and then we say this is equal to 0 and 0 goes. So just remain with negative 1 times negative 7, that will be positive 7. So we have 7b this side. So let me just demarcate here to finish up this expression. So we have 128. So we have 128 minus 78, and then minus what? Minus 8. And that is giving us what? 42. So this side we have 42, and this other side we have 7b. So when you divide by 7, divide by 7, the value of b becomes what? The value of b becomes 6. So 7 into 42, it gives us 6. So we have managed to find the value of b. Let us also find the values of these other letters which are remaining. So it's a very simple thing to do. Let me just erase this part so that we can quickly use it. Okay. Okay, so we also find another number that is going to cancel out 2 of these terms. So which number is that? By looking at these expressions, I can also get this linear factor, which is x plus 2. So if I put negative 1 while there's x here, this will be a 0. If I also put negative 1 while there's x here, this will also be a 0. So I'm going to get x, so I'll say let x be equal to what? Negative 1. So after doing this, we replace negative 1 in the whole expression there. So we have 32, negative 1 squared, and then we have plus 39, negative 1, and then we have negative 8. This is going to be equal to, so here when I put negative 1, I'm going to have negative 1 plus 2. The answer will be what? So negative 1 plus 2, the answer will be 1. 1. So let me say then here the answer will be 1. Then here when I put negative 1 where there's x, this will be negative 2 minus 3. This will give me negative 5. Then we say when you put negative 1 there, the answer will be negative 1 plus 1. This will give us a 0. So 0 times b times this, the answer will still be a 0. If I put negative 1 there, this will be negative 1 plus 1. This will be a 0. So this will be this is going to give us 0 times c times this part. The answer will still be a 0. So what you just have to do here is therefore simplify the expression here. So when we simplify this expression, this other side, we're going to have negative 1 squared to give us 1. So this will be 1 times 32. The answer will be what? 32. And we have negative 1 times 39. We have negative 39 there. Then we have negative 8. And this is being equated to what? Negative 5 times a there. We're getting negative 5a. So now when we subtract 32 minus 39, the answer will be what? So we have 32 minus 39, the answer will be negative 7. Negative 7 minus 8, the answer will be negative 15. And this is going to be equated to negative 5a. So we divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. And this and that will cancel. So we are just going to remain with, a. So a is therefore going to be equal to what? Negative 5 into negative 15, the answer is 3. So we have found b to be 6, and a, we have found it to be what? Positive 3. So now we can simply just find the remaining letters. So the remaining part, looking at the other factor which has remained, it's a bit difficult for you to find a number that you are going to replace in the expression to make 2 other terms to be zeros. So now what do you do when you have such a situation? Because there are some terms, for instance, you can have an expression or a fraction that only contains factors that are in this format, factors which are like this. Yeah, and with those factors, you find it difficult to find numbers that will cancel out two terms. So how do you deal with such factors? There now you have to compare the term, you have to compare the terms having the same degree, meaning the terms having the same power. So if I, for instance, take the power of x squared. So if I take the term with x squared, this side on the left, I'm going to have 32. So 32 is the only term that has the variable x squared. And on this other side, the variables that I'm going to have with x squared, I'm going to have a times x times 2x. That's the only part that will give me x squared on the first term there. So a times x times 2x. Okay, let me write 32x squared for the sake of understanding. And then we have a times x to be ax times 2x, it to be 2ax squared. So we have 2ax squared. And then we move on to the next term, we have b times x times 2x. So we have b times x, the answer is bx times 2x. We have another 2bx squared. Then we move on to c. So on c, we're going to multiply cx and another x there. So x times x, that will give us x squared times c to be cx squared. So now, having done that, we can now cancel out the x squared on all the terms, so that we just remain with 32 is equal to 2a plus 2b, then plus c. Okay, so after remaining with that, what you just need to replace is what you have already found. So we have already found b and a. So we're just remaining with c. So while there is b and a, I'm going to put the value 6 and 3 there, respectively. So we have 32 this side. Then there we have 2a. The value of a is 3. And then we say plus 2. The value of b there is what? Is 6. Then we say plus c. So now, after doing that, we have 32 there being equal to 2 times 3, the answer is 6. Then 2 times 6, the answer is what? 12. And then we have plus c there. So we have 6 plus 12 there. This will give us what? 18. So we have 32 is equal to 18 plus what? Plus c. And when this 18 goes goes on the left there, we're going to have 32 minus 18 being equal to what? C. So when you subtract 32, so when you say 32 minus 18, yeah, that will be, it should be 32 minus 18, that is, I think, 14, something like 14, yeah. So we have 32 minus 18, that will give us the value of what? Of c. Yeah, so the value of c is therefore what? 14. So now we have found the values of a, b, and c. So now the final solution, you write it like this. You remove the letters there. You just say this part is equal to, you write the original numbers there. So the value of a is 3, the value of b is 6, the value of c is what? 14. So this is the final solution. All right, so this is how you deal with partial fractions that have three factors. So the same way I've done this one, you have seen this one is a long process. So I'm going to leave this one for you to solve as an exercise because it's also solved in the same way like I've done this. You can see that the factors are similar there. So let me move on to this one here. So let us do this one together. So I think what we should do, since the time the time is already up, it's already counting down. So I'm not going to start solving this one. I'm going to end the meeting. Once I end the meeting, quickly join using the same link so that we finish up the remaining questions.